All right. Uh, so this GBM is a sprint review, a sprint retrospective, and a sprint planning session. I kind of explained what those were in the email if you saw it and the Slack message, but we're just gonna get started with that now. Um, Here is the agenda for today. We already did our welcome, and now we're gonna announce who the Scrum Masters are. We selected one head Scrum Master and then 5 Scrum Masters to help out. That way it's not like one person is having a meeting every day or being overwhelmed with the responsibility. We just thought we'd make it a nice light task that lets you get involved with the club. And so these people are Shreyas is our head Scrum Master. And then our other Scrum Masters are Brendan Duff, Dave Marcano, Cassandra Nicholson, Jack Mullen, and Harkamal Singh. So this is to everybody on the team. Make sure you guys are on the lookout for when they announce their Scrum meetings to be. They'll post 1 or 2 Scrum meetings throughout each sprint, and they're only going to be about 10 minutes, and they'll all be virtual. Just you pop in, see where the team's at, what's going on with the team, what type of progress we're making. And the goal is we put all that together and we'll have a good idea of where we are at the sprint before we come up on the final days. And also that will also help foster ideas, because you may be working on research for the motor, Dave, and then Camden could find something for the battery and you can pair those 2 ideas together. So that's where the advantage there comes. I'm asking these 6 people to stay after this meeting just for 5 minutes. Just want to set up a time where we can meet and go over the responsibilities more in depth for you guys and answer any questions that you guys have. And now we go to Monday.com. I know this is giving everybody trouble, but we're going to give everybody a tour of it and a tutorial, and hopefully you guys will all have a better idea and be more confident in how to use the Monday.com portal. So give me 1 minute. Start with our project sprint tracker. So what you guys see here, we'll go back to our last sprint since we're still in the sprint review. What you guys can find here is you'll find the sprint tasks that are assigned for each sprint. In the comments, you should find within the day of the sprint planning session, within 24 hours of that, you should find an acceptance criteria. And this is what needs to be done in order for this task to be marked as done. We will, so this last sprint we had research, SolidWorks, and more, sponsorship, research, and SolidWorks connection. SolidWorks connection was made, but that's not really this part of the session. So as you go through Monday.com, when you start something, you should move it to on track. If you believe that we can still get this done by the end of the sprint. If there's a blocker, something that's holding you from going forward, then that task should almost immediately be moved to off track. So if we need, let's say, for example, we say we want to start SolidWorks, but you don't have a SolidWorks license, then that would and we don't have SolidWorks license for you guys, that task would be moved to off track until we got a SolidWorks license, and then we can move that to on track. If something is going to it needs to hold off, that can be moved to paused. We did that with the ANSYS connection last sprint. We're going to hold off on that for not this next sprint, but the sprint after. Is there any questions with updating the status board? Okay. Now, if you want to commit to completing a task, you can put your name in this I can get this done category. And what this means is you are responsible for delivering what is the criteria for acceptance. As many people as they want to can fill in this category. We don't have to all fill in this category. So we can have 10 people here, and what should happen here is these people should make a group and communicate with each other to see where they are and make sure that we're all moving towards the same goal. The people in this section are interested in the task, but they don't want to commit to they don't want to commit to being fully involved in the task. They just kind of want to be included in it. And so if you don't have as much time, or maybe you want to commit to researching the motor, but maybe you want to participate in the weight distribution, then you can do that. Any questions there? Okay. And then when each task is updated, it'll be given a category. The categories are business, hull, battery and solar, motor and drivetrain. All the technical teams, so motor, battery and solar, are hull and motor, hull and battery, or motor and battery. And that'll give you an idea of where that task falls under and what we're referring to there. Finally, in this date section right here, you'll find the due date that it is required to be completed in. Working files should be uploaded into this working files column. So if you're making a Google Doc to work on the file, you can do that. If you're making a Miro board, which if you guys aren't familiar with, I highly recommend. It's a great way to work together. I'm going to upload a Miro board into each week's working file for this sprint. They're really helpful, and I highly recommend them. But basically, whatever you're doing to work, even if it's just a Word document, it should always be saved into here, so that way people can see what progress you've made. If there's any helpful resources to get the sprint task done, you'll find them in this column. And then once the item is completed, you should upload it into the submission page. Finally, this voting column that you'll see, this is more for the tasks that you'll see in this next sprint. And I'll show you what to do, but to vote, you literally just click on the button and then you voted. And this is just for us to get an idea of how many people have completed the task, if it's like getting trained on a software. How many people who signed up for it have finished it. Finally, we made this new PEP. We established our milestone. You can find our milestones and our risk in this PEP overview column. We'll go over more of this in the sprint review, but you'll see how, you can that's where you'll find the milestones and the risk for each section. Overview of insights. This is where, this is the board that our Scrum Masters will really live off of. I added a llama farm to keep us motivated. And on this side, you can see, in this file, you can see the milestones that we have, which ones are on track, and which ones are to do, and you can just click on them. If any of them move off track, you'll see those, and you can just have access to all of those right there easily. Any questions here? Okay, the same window goes for the risk and DMB board. There you can see the low risk items that we face, the medium risk items, and the high risk items that we face. And finally, you will see our sprint DMB tracker. You can click on these to see what's paused. Okay, so ANSYS connection is paused. What's on track? The sponsorship pamphlet being completed is on track. If you get the point there, what's to do, what's done. And then if anything goes off track, that'll also appear. Finally, we have not finally, we also have a calendar after this, but in this section, we have a NAT chart, which is a way of project management. You'll see here, it's broken down by month. It kind of helps us visualize. Oh, wow, that really fast forwarded fast. Let's go to today. There we go. So you can just hit that button to get to today if you get messed up. And here we can just kind of scroll through what kind of overlays with each other so we can figure out what needs to be done before we start something else. And it kind of just lays out the timeline of the project in a more visual manner to see Any questions here? Okay. And finally, there's just a calendar. I'm hoping to try and figure out how to get birthdays included in this, just so that we can know when everybody's birthday is. I know I have a lot of people entered their birthday in their form, but still it'd be nice to know everybody's birthday. So I'm hoping to figure out how to get that included in here. And finally, if you're interested in the people that have signed up for the club, it's the active member database. You just find the people, what year they are, their major, some of them have their phone number, what their interests are. Maybe you'll be able to say, hey, I'm interested in that too, and make a connection there. So everybody's welcome. And yeah. Oh, I see questions. My bad. Congrats, Jack. All right. I think that pretty much wraps up our tour of Monday. If you guys are feeling like you want to know what the leadership's up to, you can pop into our windows, but I'm not going to tour those. I don't really care if you see them, but I'm just not going to go over them. It doesn't really apply to everybody. And that brings us to our sprint review. 1 minute early. So I want to start off this sprint review by making it an open forum, kind of. Anybody who's done research or anything like that, if you have anything that you want to share with us, please do. And just pop in and unmute.
I know for the motor, we didn't actually get the documents we needed done, but if anyone like pops into the motor and drivetrain Slack, there's actually a window to meet, and we're gonna set up a meeting either tomorrow or Friday, and we're gonna try and meet in person somewhere in Benham and try and figure everything out right there because we really gotta get started on like what kind of motor we want so we can get further into this project.
And we actually did finish the task that we wanted to according to the acceptance criteria. Because we just had to lay out the milestones and the risk, and then what the next goals were, what the next sprint goal was. So it's not terrible.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Doesn't have to be crazy, but
This is more of a comment than like any research related, but I'm visiting my co-op, which is a solar developer. I don't know if you guys have like a packet if you want to ask me if you want me to ask them if they want to like sponsor us or help us procure a solar panel.
Yeah, that would I think that'd be really awesome. This next sprint, that's one of the tasks for the business team is we have a packet, but we just have to update it. So at the end of the sprint, you'll see it.
Yeah, I'm visiting them tomorrow, but I could meet with them at any time. They're pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, maybe just like mention it to them, be like, oh, we got this club going. And then
cool.
Yeah, I'll say a few words just on the business side of things. We reached out to SolidWorks recently, hoping to make a connection there. Hopefully, some type of software donation. Luke and Trey, I'm looking to meet in the next couple weeks so we can kind of start getting a game plan together. I know Trace is also involved with this, with starting to reach out to members of the engineering school and starting to figure out how we want to do this pitch and what the timeline we want for that. Because I know we really want to try and get those done by the end of October.
Sounds good. Anybody else got anything? All right. If that's the case, I'll go over the work that we did just to try and meet the acceptance criteria last night, which was outlining the milestones and risk. And I can't stress this enough, guys. If you have any input here, you think we should have another milestone or a milestone too vague or anything like that, please let us know and just speak up. We want everybody to speak up, so don't hesitate. All right, so we're gonna start off with the battery and the solar panel milestones. So starting off, we first want to require the power storage. We want to identify the required power storage by the end of October. We want to identify the solar panel use case by early November. And that's like, can we incorporate them on the boat, or is it just gonna be a charging station, which it probably will most likely be a charging station, but how we want to use it. And basically make a plan for that, a design. And then we're gonna set up a battery. We want to simulate the batteries to make sure that they'll operate how we want. We want to purchase our batteries by January 12th. R&D for the charging station should be complete by December 8th. By the end of January, we should finish simulating the charging station. By the first week of February, we should acquire the solar panels. And by mid-March, we should build our charging station, and testing should wrap up at the end of April. Anybody have any input here? Let's see the chat. Okay. Now we're going to go into the battery risk. So far, the risk that we've seen was that the battery weight is too high for the speed and distance relationship to the power usage to make the 5-mile race. This is the biggest limiting factor in electric propulsion, so this is obviously a high risk item. Then we have cost of batteries is too high for the budget. Batteries can be expensive, so this teams up with the business team. I'm going to throw, well, I don't have that set up yet, but I'm going to throw that as a dependency on the business team. Solar panels exceeding budget. It's possible, but Cassandra mentioned that she may have a sponsor for us, so I put that as a medium risk. Solar panels do not provide enough power. That is a medium risk, and we do not have the resources to create a solar charging station. That's a medium/low risk. I think we should be able to do that with the equipment at Betterno. If you guys have any ideas as to how we can mitigate these risks and lower them to get them to low, then please add them into the comments section right here. Our goal is to have a mitigation for all of these risks. It's kind of something that we need to identify, so that way we're not just flying blind. Does anybody have any initial comments right there, or how we could address any of these risks for our project? Nope. Okay. Then we're going to the drivetrain and milestones. End of the month. I'm just gonna breeze through these guys, and you can read them as I go, because I feel like me talking is a little monotonous for everybody. Type of motor selected by the end of the month. End of October, we want to have the motor research and plan finalized. And early November, we want to have a simulation CAD and simulation training complete. By the end of December, we want to have a CAD design of our motor complete. By the start of by mid-January, we want to have simulations complete for the motor. By mid-March, by early March, we want to have the manufacturing complete, and we want to take early March until late April for testing and troubleshooting. Also, an additional task, which is in the wrong location here. I should move this up. Sorry about that, guys. Is the outboard needs to be selected and optimized by the end of December. We'll move that down to here. There we go. By the beginning of September. Any questions, input? Think we need more milestones? Think a milestone can be cleaned up, or think a timeline is unrealistic?
Yeah, I definitely think that's good, like a good starting, but I do know that obviously gonna run into problems. Like we can also fluctuate, we get things done early or late. Like the schedule is gonna be up to change.
Yeah. And that is literally the basis of Agile, and that's why we selected it, is because it's for projects that are kind of too big to know everything that's going to go wrong. And this way we can, these things are quickly adjusting. These are really rough outlines. So.
All right, yeah. Just wanted to let everyone know that too. Like these are not like set dates.
Yeah. Okay, and now we're gonna go through our risk of the motor. A risk is that we can't get simulation and CAD training done fast enough for enough people to move the rest of the project forward. It's a medium risk. To counter that, we're gonna start doing that very soon in this next sprint. We're gonna start with the trainings. Another high risk item is that manufacturing takes too long. It's a pretty difficult task that we're taking on here to design a whole motor. It's going to be a lot of R&D and then testing and troubleshooting. So the mitigation for that is going to be a worst case scenario date where we just end up pivoting to adjusting an electric motor to fit our system as quickly as possible, which will be a late date. But and then another risk is that the motor that we design is not efficient enough to make it 5 miles off electricity. It's another high risk item because I don't think, has anybody here ever designed a motor before? It's not like a sarcastic question, just genuine. Okay, so that's why it's a high risk item, is because we're all doing this for the first time. Motor not fast enough to be competitive in the race. It's possible, but it's also low risk because as a first year club, our just completing this is a success. And then finally, cannot find space in SSOE to manufacture appropriate items. Another low risk item. That shouldn't be an issue. Now, whole milestones. Again, I'm going to fly through these. We want to finish our training for Trace. Do you want to go over this one? So you have the computational fluid dynamics.
I can take care of this one. So, like Camden said earlier, this is basically a very not set in stone timeline, but real quick, it is we want to have training done on computational fluid dynamics by the end of the next month, and that's basically just learning how to use the simulation software. Most likely we'll be using CFX. We want to have the design alternatives done to see if we want to change anything about the hull also by the end of the 27th, and then we want to complete simulation by the end of November, have the final design done by the end of the semester, start manufacturing right after that. Most likely won't be getting a lot done towards the end of December, but that's fine. And then we want to have testing complete by April. That way we can get everything running and have some time before the race. Some of the risks that are associated with the hull is damage to the boat, getting the hull, because we either have to get it shipped from Maryland or drive down to Maryland, but that's not really going to be a huge problem. We anticipate maybe some difficulty getting trained in simulation. And we know that there's going to be a few problems just getting everything done with the battery and drivetrain secured to the boat. Nothing that's going to really derail it, but we anticipate it to be a little bit of some trouble. And then we think it might be possible that the motor and drivetrain might not be as compatible as we first think it will be.
Any questions here? Additional risks that you guys see for anything that we've talked about, or additional milestones or milestone changes that you think we should make? All right. And then Chris, you want to go over the business milestones and the risk? Sorry, Cam.
Yeah. Can you get those on your screen? I don't have it in front of me. But
Am I not sharing my screen?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I had something else pulled up. So
Real quick.
something regarding the hull. Just consideration is, I'm assuming it's like being a whole boat is going to be pretty heavy, so we have to consider like transportation and storage for when we're, because it's going to be large and heavy. So like where are we going to store it? How are we going to get it to and from testing sites and where we're working? I think there's a risk that becomes kind of difficult.
Storage space.
Yeah, that's definitely true. That's something we've thought about a little bit. We've thought about possibly getting a trailer. One of the advantages of the hull that we have is that it's inflatable. So hopefully it won't be too much of a problem, but you're right. That could definitely be something that could come into play.
All right, so just going over some of the business milestones we kind of laid out. So first and foremost, in the coming weeks, we're gonna be developing maybe some T-shirts, some hoodies, and then kind of sending out an interest form by the 20th, kind of gauging if you guys would be interested in something like this. This merchandise will probably entail our logo, maybe some sponsors on it. Really haven't ironed all that out yet, but more to come there. Currently, right now, we're sitting at about $12.5 thousand worth of liquid donations. By the end of the semester, we're looking to get that close or above 30,000. I think this is really achievable considering some of the connections we've leveraged lately. Our friend is reaching out to a family friend who works at Sheets. There might be an opportunity there, as well as just all the opportunities to the engineering school. Social media wise, we want to eclipse 100 followers as soon as possible. If you haven't already, follow Pittsburgh Electric Propulsion on Instagram. We post something on our story. Do your best to repost it, share it with your friends that might have some interest. I know I was getting some DMs earlier today about some interest in the club, so we know that's working there. Moving on, by the end of October, we also want to have our first produced video released on our homepage as well as our YouTube channel. So just give people an idea of what we've been working towards. We're eyeing this to be around 30 seconds to a minute. If anyone has any experience with like high res cameras or just is really good at editing, we could really use your help there. I know on the editing front, my skills are subpar, so gonna need some assistance there. One of pretty much the most important things we want to have done by the beginning of November is to have a full budget developed. Again, this really all relies on the motor, battery, and hull plan being assembled, and we're going to be working pretty closely with those respective teams into kind of developing that budget, as well as like seeing where our areas of flexibility are. Going into, I mean, this is an ongoing process starting from now into all through next year. Is this finalizing all purchases for the boat? Hopefully we will develop an effective screening method in which we're getting the best quality parts, the best quality price. It obviously puts us in the best position for success in this competition. And then finally, hopefully we have enough liquid donations. And I mean, obviously the whole goal of like developing a budget and like finalizing all the purchases for the boat in the most effective way is to obviously have money left over. And if in that case we do, we want to develop sponsorship thank you packages that we're able to send out to all respective sponsors, because like we're thinking long term when it comes to this club. So if this relationship with these respective sponsors we have, it doesn't just stop here. We want this to be an ongoing thing in which they see the work we've put in over this year, and they'll want to donate the same amount or even more money in years to come. And on that front, that's really all we have for business milestones at this moment. But if anyone has anything else, please feel free to holler. Just moving on to some of the risks. One of the obvious biggest ones is that our sponsorship funding is not met. This would pretty much mess up our whole progress when it comes to, I mean, building the boat, which isn't good. So we see this risk as low. And from the sponsorships we've been able to acquire over the past couple months, I see no reason why we can't reach our goals on that front. Other than that, not enough team support. Right now, it's just me, Shreyas, Luke. Obviously, I think for at this moment we can kind of handle that. But when we really get into the nitty gritty of the budgeting and the screening process, we might need some more hands on deck on that front. So, like I said, if you're interested in working the business team, let me know. We can get you in the group chat there. And then finally, the funds not being managed or tracked correctly. I will figure out how I want to necessarily track everything. I mean, I've been tracking things in a Microsoft Teams page that has Trace, Camden, and Nick on it. I'm sure we can figure out a way for either some of the guys on the business team to have access to that, or I can transfer some of that stuff to the Monday page. Effectively, we want full transparency with what we're doing, everything down to like for example, like Nick and Trace stay in a hotel, that's not on them. We want the school to cover that. So pretty much all our books up to date. We're having the school pay for as much stuff as possible, and we're obviously just making effective decisions based off effective, accurate numbers. And with that being said, I think I've really covered everything. But if any of you guys have any other milestones or risks that are kind of concern, speak now.
Not really on the business side, but do we have a social media manager?
We had talks. That Jack was saying that Claire was interested in doing it. I mean, if we did want to have a dedicated social media manager who wanted to like sit down and have like a posting schedule, that's obviously something we've been thinking about. But if anyone here has interest in that, and Jack, Claire has real interest in that, let me know and we can get in contact with her.
Yeah, I think Claire does have real interest with her. I never really initiated a talk with you or Janko about transferring it over to her, so we could get that done by this weekend.
All right. Yeah. Sounds good.
And until that's done, like if anybody's interested in it, let us know. Maybe you guys can work together or something like that. We just want to give as many opportunities as we can to you guys. Any other questions, guys? Ideas that you want to mention? All right. And that brings us to our sprint retrospective. So basically, what I want to happen here, guys, is if you can turn your cameras on, that's great. But like, if we could just talk about what we did this last sprint, where the errors were, where we could improve. Those are like some key points that I think would really help us decide how we can get better. What were our successes? What were our failures? And you guys can be, if you think it was terrible, be brutally honest.
I definitely think we need more communication in the Slack from pretty much everyone. I mean, I know like we kind of just started, but at the same time, like if we really want to like get this thing rolling, we should definitely like communicate more and also join like the subsections that you're interested in. Cause I know like there's like the drivetrain and motor one, and everyone should pretty much join like their respective subsections and start conversations. Like I know I initiated like a meeting for the like R&D of the motor, and I think we should do that for pretty much every subsection on the boat.
I agree with that. I think that we should try and get some working sessions, at least like a couple in this next week, and make it when you can. If you can't make it, it's no big deal. And I do want to give some shout outs to some people who have been working a lot on this stuff. I know Brendan is throwing stuff in the chat. Dave, both Lukes have. There's been other people too. Those are just the people that I came to the top of my head. But to everybody that participated in that, huge shout out to you guys. That's crucial to us succeeding. So keep participating in those chats. Anybody else? The more feedback we get, the better we can become.
For something I would say that went well was honestly, even though first year club and everything, we don't really know everybody in the club. I thought our teamwork and just the little get together on last Friday was really got to see everyone's face like get to see their face and talk to them. But I thought that was pretty cool. Something that could be improved on, definitely, as Dave basically hit it, just communication through the Slack. Slack is a very powerful tool, resourceful tool, one of the best teamwork management tools. So a little bit more participation in that would be nice. And something that can be improved on, yeah, honestly, just the Slack. Just communication and participation is what's going to make this club work, and that's what makes anything work. So just more of that. It's all on my side.
And what I think will really help with that, or at least what I'm hoping will really help with that, is the addition of the Scrum Masters now with the stand-ups, because that should, I know that'll make more traffic in the Slack in general. And as people keep coming back to the Slack, hopefully they'll be like, oh, I could look at this. And also, if you go to a Scrum meeting, which go to as many as you can, they're really short, but like there's obviously no requirement to go to those. It's I think it's really helpful and will help foster that communication in Slack even more to give better ideas. Also, thanks to everybody that came out last week. It was great seeing everybody in person. I had fun. I thought it was a good time.
Yeah, just to go off of that. I mean, obviously, I know today was the first day of fall, and tomorrow we only got a high of 61. But hopefully, maybe we can send out a poll, and maybe sometime in October we can do another one of those if the weather permits.
Yeah, and also if anybody's interested in being like a social chair for our club, let me know. I'm looking for somebody to help us. Like, I want this to be a club where we do engineering, but I think one of the biggest aspects to keep everybody interested in the club and also to make us all work together better is having some social aspects where we're having fun. Like maybe it's even like going to the haunted house or something like that. So let us know if you're interested in that role. Yeah.
A general question. Did they get back to you about the room in Benedum? Like whenever we could go in person and next?
Yeah, so we just have to wait for some final information from the SORC. We have everything ready and set up. The advisors are set, but that won't be done until early October. So should be done quickly after that, but we do have to wait for that. Anyone else?
Yeah, so I have a comment just on like the forums that we're using. So I know I heard like a few different ones. Obviously Monday, I heard Microsoft Teams, Slack, and obviously we're using Zoom. But I feel like with all those forums that it might be a little confusing for people to navigate, especially if they're new or like switching between parts of research and parts of the project. So I mean, if we could get it down to like a few concrete ones, I feel like that would be helpful. I know that Microsoft Teams, you could build your schedule and view other people's schedules to see if like a meeting is compatible based off their Outlook. But other than that,
That may be a good idea. It's definitely a good idea to reduce those. Teams may be a good channel for us to go through there. Definitely something to talk about the sprint and yeah. Cameron, Trace, thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I like the idea of keeping everything simple, making it a lot easier. I think it might help improve communication. But yeah, it's just a discussion we all should have.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we could take away those like some of the files on the Monday, or maybe just figure something out. We should try and simplify it though, I agree. Especially because
like,
once no, go ahead.
it like whenever you set up meetings through and like send the link for Microsoft Teams through Outlook, people have the ability to like say, yeah, I'm coming, or no, I'm not coming, and it'll go straight into their Microsoft calendar so that you can see if there's any interferences with your own schedule or other people's schedule.
That's a good idea. And if people update their schedule onto their Outlook, that could make it so that we could easily find times to meet and we wouldn't have to use like when to meets and things like that. So maybe we will do that. That sounds like a good idea. Anybody else have thoughts on that? All right. Any other comments for the review? All right. Now we go into the sprint planning session. And this is where we really need your guys' feedback. So hopefully we can get some open communication channels here, because for something to be added to the sprint planning, somebody has to be able to say, I can get this done. So I know Maria, who is our graphic designer, and if anybody else is interested in graphic design, reach out to Maria. I know she's really looking for help on this. So that's definitely going to be in this sprint, because she wasn't able to finish it last sprint, which is totally fine. So our thought process was, my original thought process was that SolidWorks training should probably get done before simulation training, just because to run simulations, you have to have your design done. You guys agree with that? Would we rather put that in the sprint, or do you think we should try and put both in the sprint?
I would say for now, just put the SolidWorks training. But I mean, obviously, guys, feel free if you want to start doing simulation training too. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you guys use LinkedIn Learning at all, or I bet ANSYS or Siemens has their own videos also. So obviously, feel free to look up whatever you guys need to or want to.
Is there anybody that wants to be added to this task? That just says like, you'll do some SolidWorks training and get it underway.
Sure.
Who's that?
Well, people could just
David.
people can just jump on that, couldn't they?
Yeah, they
Okay.
can.
Yeah, they can just
I
add
just want to make
themselves.
sure we have some people that are going to be doing it for each chat.
So what if like, does that include people that are like already proficient in SolidWorks, or?
I think if you're proficient in SolidWorks, then that would be considered done. If you could add yourself and just fill out this done thing,
Yeah,
because I just want to know how many people we have trained on SolidWorks.
perfect.
And then, is anybody sufficient in SolidWorks to the point where they want to work on preparing a in-person training session for everybody?
I can take care of that.
Okay. Does anybody else want to help Trace on that?
I can help.
Okay. I can help. Anyone else?
If, and this is just like a random thought, if you're a second year Mechie, I would definitely recommend going to the in-person SolidWorks training, because you're going to be using it pretty much all semester.
All right. So you two will work together to prepare that. And that's just at the end of the sprint. And then we're going to have that for early next sprint, if you're okay with that. And make sure you guys check out the acceptance criteria for each of these. So in-person workshop plan with a PowerPoint, challenges for people to work through, and workshop plan for early next sprint. And you can find all of them here. So simulation training, we said we're going to hold off on. Maybe we should include it for the people that are already trained in SolidWorks, though. What do you guys think? Or should we just move on to other tasks, probably?
I would say let's move on to other tasks, because are we still like waiting to see if we're gonna go with like ANSYS or
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Something else. Yeah.
So the next thing is the motor design. We want to have an outline of that done. I can help with that. I can get this done. Camden, can you get this done, or can you help with that? Which one would you rather be under?
Yeah, I can definitely help get this done. Get it done.
Get this done. Okay.
I'm
Anybody
also
else?
into to help get that done.
Okay, Brendan. It's getting a little glitchy on me. Come on. Yeah. Brendan. All right. Anybody else get this done or help?
I can help get it done.
Help. Okay. Luke.
I said help get it done.
Yep. Oh, wait, you're
No, yeah,
Kevin.
he said help
Yeah.
get it done.
Sorry. I gotta reword that. There you go. How to use computational fluid dynamics software. Do we want to include this one or no, Trace?
It's not too urgent.
Okay.
Doesn't
And
need
then
to.
we'll add R&D for battery. Who is interested in leading this R&D for battery charge? / do we think that we're overloading this sprint, or are we good for this?
I feel like what we have is good for now. I mean, if someone is interested in looking more into the battery, like, please, by all means, do it. But I feel like if we're able to start getting some training in, I feel like there's a lot of things we can have to get done that we already have right now.
Peer at these milestones to make sure that that's not going to throw us off. If it is going to throw us off, then I can take that on. So, yeah, I mean, that looks like it's not too bad. That's more dependent on that. Yeah, I think that we can hold off one sprint for that. Then that'll be moved up to a more urgent task for the next sprint. Now, emailing co-director, this has to be done by me or Chris. Probably shouldn't even be in this window, but also Chris, Joshua Summers is interested in helping with the business team. So definitely reach out to him and include him in all talks that you guys have.
Sounds good.
And Chris and Josh, we'll include you in like our discussions of what to put in this email, so that you can see how we're doing it. Then we have plan engineering school pitches. Chris, are we good? Do you want this in this task?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I missing some of yours? Because I thought that you had like 4 of them, and now I only see 3. Are there any other sprint tests, any other business tests you want to include in this sprint?
Nah, I think that's all right for right now. Yeah, I don't know why. I forget. Actually, yeah, I want to start drafting, or I guess that kind of goes along with like the engineering school pitches, like drafting we're gonna write. So you don't have to put anything there. We're fine.
Can I add a task for the business team to complete in this? Do you mind?
Yeah.
Update PEP proposal Word doc. Because right now it's still with our old name, and some of the goals are not outlined correctly. So that needs to be updated if we're going to be sending it out to companies.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So who wants to help with this? Josh, if you're here, you can definitely help get this done if you're interested in that. And anybody else can help get this done.
Yeah, throw me on there.
Chris, okay.
I can help with that.
Who's that?
Ezra.
Ezra. Okay.
I can help as well.
Okay, sounds good. Sure, are you in this?
I should be.
There you go. This you?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? I can help get this done. I don't want to commit to too much. Anybody else want to be included in these conversations?
I can help get it done.
Can help get it done or get this
Mhm.
done? Help. Okay.
I can help. So right column.
Sounds good. All right. Okay. Anybody else want to be in this discussion? All right. So I'm gonna make that to do. This is battery and hull. No, not hull and motor. Or no, that's just hull. I thought we had oh yeah, motor design. Okay, good. Engineering school pitches. Who wants to lead those discussions?
I'll lead this.
Chris, okay. Anybody
What's
else?
involved with the engineering school pitches?
Well, we have a PowerPoint presentation that needs to be updated. Right now, the acceptance criteria is listed as an updated PowerPoint, but it's still in progress because right as the meeting started, I didn't get to finish it. You can look for more tomorrow, but basically it's going to be updating the PowerPoint and then planning potential meetings with professors. I'm not sure if that'll be a part of this sprint task or if just the PowerPoint and organize and maybe like practicing how the pitches will go will be this sprint, but that'll be more up to the site to Chris's decision.
All right, I can help Chris with that then.
Help
Yeah.
or get?
I'll get it done with them.
I can help on that. Like some more, because I don't know if we need to put like some
I can also help.
technical stuff.
Jack, are you in Monday yet?
I'm actually trying to create an account right now, but it's giving me some trouble, so we can meet afterwards to fix that.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, don't glitch on me.
Janko, you
And
should-
then is there anybody here that has any history of like designing things? Because I know Maria is really looking for some more help on designing the sponsorship pamphlet. It's probably the biggest task of this whole sprint. So if anybody is able to help there, that would kind of be huge. Or does anybody know anybody that could help?
I
Yeah,
could
I was just
see
about to say.
what's it called? I could talk to Mason if he's like serious about working on that. I would say Owen, but the thing is Owen just has so much shit going on that like if he's not getting paid, he's probably not going to do it. So, but we could see if Mason can get involved with this. I'll talk to him.
I was gonna say, my friend back home, he's a film and arts major. He just plays with Photoshop all day. I could give him we shoot him a text, see if he's interested in that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Sure, he could put it on his resume as like a graphic designing job. Like, can't pay him, but interested in that. Did anybody else say they can help with this besides me? I may have missed somebody. Nope. Okay. Alrighty. Any other tasks that you guys think that we can get done in this sprint or need to get done in the sprint? Or does anybody feel that we overcommitted? Nope.
I think at this level in the semester, it's a good amount of work, but also with where we are, I think we can handle it. And I mean, if anyone, I mean, I feel like we have pretty like spread out teams, but if anyone has any concerns or like feels like they can't get something done, like reach out to like me, Nick, Trace, or Camden, or any of the scrum leaders, so we can address that like at least like a week before like the 6th, so we can be on the same page.
And your guys, when we have these scrum meetings, that's your first line of defense for blockers, basically. Like, if there's anything blocking you, like, go to them. They're there to help solve problems quickly. Like, there'll probably be days where they have a meeting for 10 minutes where nobody goes. But our goal for that is that, I mean, they can just turn on their Zoom for 10 minutes, do homework, and if somebody comes, maybe they can solve a blocker. Or if you do work, please update them, because one of the biggest things is trying to identify how far we are along in our progress, even if it's just doing training. Like, if you can pop into the scrum stand-ups for 5 minutes, a minute, like over Zoom, camera can be off or on. Like, it's nice for cameras to be on just so that we can get to know each other, but it's really not that crucial. And yeah, I think that's huge. And then they escalate blockers to us, and that way we can all be working efficiently. So
Yeah, I think whatever we have for this sprint is good. Of course, the whole point of Agile is that if this is a little bit too much work, we learn from this sprint and we change it for the next sprint and just work from there. So, and another point is if you're not on Monday.com, just throw your email in the chat, because it took me forever, like, just to set this up. So I know Jack is trying to get it set up right now, but if you are not in Monday, throw your email in the chat and we'll try to get you figured out.
yeah. Also, is there anybody that's not in the Slack? That's where most of our communication is going to be done. So if you're not in the Slack, please let us know. Okay. Okay, sounds good. So I will get you guys set up with that. What I'll do is I'll get you guys in the Slack, and then in the Slack, I'll send the Monday.com invitation. I feel like that's the best way to do it. And if you guys still can't join from the link that's sent to the Monday in the Slack tonight, let us know. All right, that wraps up our meeting. We're 1 minute late, not too bad. Stick around if you have any questions. We'll be here. Also, Scrum Masters, please stick around for a minute. All right, so we're just down to the Scrum Masters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. All right, so are all you guys on Slack? Okay, so I'm gonna send you guys, I'm gonna make a group chat and send you guys all a message on Slack. It's just gonna be a when to meet, and there's gonna be a brief meeting to discuss what you guys are gonna be doing as Scrum Masters. And also, I'd like especially for people that aren't very accustomed to Scrum and don't have too much experience in it, it's like a 50-minute LinkedIn learning course. It just gives you the principles. I think it'd be worth it so you guys can have a better idea. And it goes on your LinkedIn as like a certification. So like kind of helps you anyway. So I don't think that's too much. You guys okay with that? All right. Did anybody write down those emails, that message in the chat? I just want to make sure.
I screenshotted them.
All right, word. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, so we're gonna have we have five Scrum Masters and Master. So what does my job entail? So like, there's gonna be the 5 Scrum Masters and they're gonna have their meetings with them, and then like, are we all going to come together like in like the same breakout room and just discuss what just happened? And
Yeah, so they'll have like a couple meetings throughout the 2 weeks. And then this is a pretty common thing in Scrum. Not sure if you guys have done it where you guys have worked, but I talked to people where I work and they said like this is the highest recommendation is doing a scrum of scrums. Sounds like kind of weird, but and basically you guys will just talk about what's going wrong in your meetings, what's going right, how we can get more, even if it's attendance or anything like that, what we can change to make things better for you guys. And one of the biggest things for you guys is going to be appearing as a uniform front. So that's why the scrum and scrum is going to be key. And then Shrey, I'll probably have you check in on more scrums throughout the week than everybody else. Give you a little bit more of a commitment there, if you're okay with that.
yeah, that's fine.
Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, so like how much of a responsibility is being a scrum master?
Yeah, so what you guys will be doing is you just lead a 10 or 15-minute meeting on Zoom. You're just going to schedule it, throw it in the Slack, send out an invite to people, and they'll just join. And what you'll be doing, Scrum Masters are basically defined as like almost servant leaders. So like you're going to be leading the charge. You're going to be, if people make change, like give you updates on the Monday.com board during your meeting, we're going to ask you to like write an update for that, which is done within the time frame of your 10 to 15-minute meeting. Other than that, it's really not too much of it's not really too much. We've kind of we've divided the role into 6. So to try and make it as least of a time commitment as possible and make it as easy on you guys as you can. And you can be as involved as you want, but obviously you've signed up for a little bit extra. And if anybody can't do this anymore, let me know as soon as possible. But
what was the LinkedIn Learning thing called again?
I'm gonna send it to you guys. I'm gonna show it to you guys in our meeting. Once I get that up. I don't have it up on me right now.
Got you.
Another question. Have we been assigned to a team that we're going to be working with, or like did you create teams yet? Like who's reporting to who? And is it just going to be done by division, or is it just randomly? Like,
it's just going to be an open forum, basically. You guys are one team acting as one person, basically. Because Scrum Master is typically one person, and it's just distributing it so that you guys don't have to have a meeting every day of the week. You guys on board with that?
Yeah.
All right. If you guys don't have any more questions, you're free to leave. If you do, you can stick around. Thanks, guys. Keep an eye out for a Slack group from me.
Jake, I got a question. I forgot if you mentioned this before, but are the sponsorships and like the donations, like are they liquid or are they just like still in like hypothetical?